My DJ made a mistake and hit the button, and the bottom of the map dropped, and the whole crowd, hey, hey, hey. You know what I'm saying? I was just sitting there, I was like, oh man, they got it.
How are you keeping track of what you were spending, and how are you keeping track of what you were paying your staff?
I had a former background, my other job. Me and Hov was like hanging at the time, and then he goes, I'm gonna do it by the way. I said, do what? He said, I'm gonna do the record. I didn't have an A&R. I A&R'd that myself from A to Z. I just heard the tone of his voice. I said, what's wrong? He said, man, I sold the beat to some street guys from Tennessee. Well, whoever these guys were, because he know my reputation. I don't know who they were, but he was not coming off that beat. And I was like, yo, tell him I'll buy it. He's like, nah, they're not gonna wanna do it. They got a song to it, whatever. And I was just like, what you gonna do? He said, I promise I'll make you a better one. And I sent him the vocals. I said, all right, got until the end of the week. And when I tell you he sent it back and I pushed play, I was like, my God.
20 years ago, Jeezy changed the sound of rap. He did so with a debut album released through Def Jam Records called Thug Motivation 101. But what if I told you that Jeezy did not even intend to be a rapper himself? He started Corporate Thugz Entertainment in the late 90s with the goal of finding the next big rap star. And then after some searching, he decided I could just do it myself. And so he did. 20 years later, he made what is considered a seminal work in the not just rap, but southern rap and trap music and all that we know to be the powerful music that came out of Atlanta, Georgia. We're here now to talk about it. Specifically, one of the best songs ever made, Go Crazy. Welcome to On Record. Jeezy, thanks for being here.
Appreciate you having me, my brother.
Before we get to 2005, just take me back to, was it 98 when you launched Corporate Thugz?
Yes.
The idea for Corporate Thugz was what?
The Corporate Thugz was, how can I get into this game that, from my understanding at the time, was the only form of entrepreneurship I knew of, right? Because the Cash Moneys and those guys were the only people I've seen be successful. I'm 5'8", ain't no way in the hell I'm getting on a basketball court, you know what I'm saying? It's not happening. But it's just like, what can I do to still live my lifestyle, but to legitify myself and do something that I love? And that lead me into my purpose, which was music, because I learned a lot of what I was learning from music. So when I launched Corporate Thugz, it was to go find talent in the neighborhood, in the city to put on, and I tried, you know, but the thing that I learned almost instantly is everybody gotta want it as bad as you do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't want it more than they do. You know, I got respect for anybody that's successful in this game because it takes real dedication and hard work. It took me almost 12 years to get on, and millions of dollars, you know what I'm saying? That I had to really get out here and, you know, risk my life to get it. So imagine that, you know what I'm saying? So
you don't really hear that, like, oh, it took me 12 years and millions of dollars to get on. I think for people who look at your career, they're just like, oh, boom, CTE, Def Jam.
It was Young Guns before that, and it was something else before that.
Yeah.
But I did realize wholeheartedly that this was a path that God put me on, because I was smart, but not that smart. And then also all roads led back to what I was doing and trying to do. And it was like there was nothing else I could do. You know, I tried other things and it just didn't gel well with me. And my spirit was just saying, just stay with it. Just stay with it.
Who taught you about music? What did you know about music up until that point?
Well, my cousins, my older cousins, they was, you know, hustling before me, and they were the guys who put like Jermaine Dupri, Dallas Austin, Another Bad Creation. They had a record label, and they was like with K Wells and all these guys when they was getting all these big deals, 80 million, all this stuff, and they was like the money behind it. So I got it from there, and then I had a group of guys from Fort Lauderdale that I had some unofficial business with, you know what I'm saying? And I went down with them to hang out one year, and they was going to promote. They had all these Winnebagos, and we drove up to Daytona for like spring break. And I just remember being with them, and they was giving out t-shirts, and they was passing out flyers and CDs, and I'm just like, man, I really want to do this. So I went back to Atlanta and bought a studio and started signing people. And that's how I started.
In like the late 90s, you just like went back.
Yeah, kind of took the same blueprint because it looked like it was working.
Many people don't see it. The blueprint that you're describing, the thing that you're talking about, is essentially a venture capital firm.
Yeah, so let me take you back. So I tried it that way. I spent all this money. Most of my artists got jammed up. Some of them got charged up, whatever. I'm sitting around, I'm like, okay, what do we do now? And my man was like, you might as well do it because you living the life and you the one out here and you sit in the studio every day. So now I'm in there trying to figure out how to make records. But I gotta find my voice, because it's like I don't really know who and what I am, so I'm kind of putting a little bit of everything that I know. And it took me a while to get comfortable with it, you know, some real time. But I finally found my voice, understood, Tupac was my therapist when I didn't even know I needed one. And I love the fact that he stood for something. He was a revolutionary, but he had morals and values. How they say stood on business, like he really was willing to die about what he believed in.
Right.
And I respect that, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people aren't. And I was willing to risk my freedom for what I believed in, right? And when I finally found my voice, I was just like, you know what? I want to motivate. After Trapper died and I was coming into my debut space, it was just like, okay, now it's time to really talk to him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I did all the popping, they know who I am, but like, what am I going to stand for? I knew that that's what I needed to be doing at the time.
Atlanta has a different flavor on how they look at music. It's like the beat is second, you know what I mean? The story, raps, and everything is first. If they can get you with that, then you can get through the beat. East Coast is like the beat comes on first. That's what we vibe off first. If the beat was whack, we ain't listen.
I had to do a lot of self-reflecting to go, okay, this is about being a leader. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what this is about. Like, it's not about you. You know what I'm saying? God gave you a gift, but it's not about you. Because people are like, you're great. I'm okay, cool, I received that. But there's a bigger thing I need to be doing now. And that's kind of how I went about it.
Do you think that the idea of being motivational, speaking about things that were more than just being in the club and popping bottles was part and parcel of the success? That it couldn't have come without that?
Well, I think it's twofold. I think yes, and I also think that you still have to entice people to want to be a part of your movement. And it's just like anything else. It's like people want to play football if they didn't think they was going to get paid and live this lifestyle. And why would I follow you if you're saying you're motivating me and you're not looking like you're living good? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at least I want to, feel like I'm working towards something. Because music was the vessel, but the culture was the ingredients, right? Because culturally, we were the guys that was in the club popping bottles, drinking champagne out of bottles and throwing money and all that stuff. But then when you see mainstream get it, you just don't really know where it came from, but I know where it came from. Right? But I also seen the influence of it, and I'm going like, well, if they're gonna go for that, they gotta go for this.
Right.
So for me, it's almost like, I knew at some point if I stayed in the middle of the road, I was gonna be able to make a difference, you know what I'm saying, and have impact. One of the reasons why I got into this was because I knew that this is something that I can do, that I can remain myself.
Right.
And I can walk around with Dickie suits on and be considered a businessman. Like, imagine that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you walk around with Chuck Taylors and Dickie suits, but you actually doing business. To me, it was marketing. You know what I mean? The jerseys with your name on the back, the chains with Jeezy on them, the snowman chains, the snowman t-shirts. I didn't call it marketing then, because I didn't know that. But all this was to get people to become a part of the movement.
Here at Boardroom, Katie and Rich's whole thing is, showing people the machinations that move business and culture, forward. I'm curious if you could talk more about that business. Like, can you talk about back then, how are you keeping track of what you were spending, and how are you keeping track of what you were paying your staff? Who's helping you with that?
I had a formal background in my other job.
I actually met Jeezy in college. He came to my dorm room. I can't tell you what he came, but he came through this, you know what I'm saying? And he pulled up. I seen him a couple times, but at that point, we didn't know each other. I don't think he knew I made beats like that, you know what I mean?
But it was take the island and burn the ships. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't like you wasn't keeping up with her. You keeping up with your freedom.
Right.
And being alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, if I could just get through the summer, we'll figure it out. So it's like, it wasn't really a blueprint. It was, what can I do to change the trajectory of where I'm going? And it ain't a dollars and cents thing. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's how much do I believe in what I'm doing?
It's like, you'll pay whatever it takes to get this result.
I'm not even looking at the numbers.
Right.
Because guess what? If I do this right, my life is going to be changed, and it's not going to even matter, because it's going to be tenfold, 10x by the time I look at what's going on.
When did you bring someone around you that was actually like a real finance person? Like, when did that person join the team?
I'm gonna be honest with you, like, that's an ongoing thing, if I'm honest, because you scale up. Right. So you're gonna always, the good thing is, I was a finance person. You know what I'm saying? So ain't nobody, you know what I'm saying? I know what I put under my mattress is a shoebox. So I knew what I was doing, but I can eyeball
the entire P&L was up here.
Yeah, it's up there. I can eyeball it. You know what I'm saying? I know all the moving parts, so I'm not going to be crazy, but I'm like, okay, we can do that. Because if you're looking at the money and you're counting the pennies, you're gonna be scared to take a risk. You can't make it that way. I mean, like, you gotta take, I would even say calculated risk. To break the mold, you gotta take a chance. Like before Miami, before Memorial Day weekend, this guy that was just in Atlanta that was printing CDs, he only had like 2 burner machines. I was literally sitting outside his door waiting for him to burn these 100,000 CDs I paid for to go down to Miami to give them away, to the point we couldn't get the sleeves, so we just put them in plastics. So it's just like, whatever you had to do to make it happen, you're not counting anything. You're like, I'm guerrilla marketing. Right. So I'm gonna go buy as many posters as I can get. I'm gonna pay as many people as I can put these posters up everywhere.
So it was more like, I need a t-shirt. Who's your t-shirt guy?
Well, whoever's gonna get them back to me the fastest.
Right.
Because most of it was last minute. I'm not gonna front. You know what I'm saying? I wake up and be like, we need 1,000 shirts. We gotta do it. We need 300 shirts. We gotta do it. So it's not like planned out. It's more so how you feel. Right. And I think when people get in the mode of just trying to follow like some type of structure somebody's told them, that might work for them, but it's not gonna work for you. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta take a chance. Of course I've lost. You know what I'm saying? But also I've won, and I don't count the wins, because when I lose, I learn something. I did that too soon, I did that too late, I overspent, I should have thought about it, I should have asked him, you know what I'm saying? Whatever that is, right. But that's what you gotta learn yourself, so you'll know the temperament of the business that you're in, right? But then also, it's different because what is the goal? The goal wasn't to make money. Interesting. The goal was to have a career. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't on a dollar amount. I'm like, how the hell do I get out of the streets? Let's talk about that, right? Because this is gonna be life-changing, which puts me in another situation where now I can actually have a company, and I can actually have employees, and I can build this conglomerate with people that I trust. As long as I stay relevant, I can do other things. But I never grew up like I'm gonna be a rapper. Like I think people who get it twisted. Music was my talent, you know what I'm saying? Business was always my passion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always wanted to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? That's why I love Hov so much, because he understood that, right? The music's gonna live on, but what you doing on the side? You know what I'm saying? What's gonna keep you going and keep you fulfilled? And for me, it's just like, you gotta be willing to take them chances, you know? And I took those chances when I was younger. Like, I did things, and then, it went left. And I had to crawl back out of a hole. You know what I'm saying? But by the time you do that 10, 15 times, you ain't scared no more. Yep. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna figure it out. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna cry about spilled milk, but we took the shot.
I've always been curious, before you decided on the final Snowman graphic, like, how many designs did you go through before you landed on that one?
Okay, so Fezzi, shout out to Fezzi, was my first jeweler. I brought my first Rolex from Fezzi when I was 14. I brought a presidential with baguettes and a green face. I'll never forget it.
At 14?
Yep, first Rolex. Cashed out.
14.
So I went to Fezzi and I drew it out. Me and him sat at the desk and I drew out the snowman. I drew a small circle, a bigger circle, and a bigger circle. And I put like little things, I can't draw for shit. So I just put like, the dots on it. And then I put the face, and then I put the eyes. He like, what the hell is that? I said, a snowman. And he was like, okay. He's, Fezzi, Turkish guy, God, give me a week, I'll make it. And I said, I want it iced out. It gotta be crazy when people see it. Cause in Atlanta around that time, people like, even for myself, I know people I've known a decade, and a half. I don't know their name, but I know their jewelry. So if I see them out, I'd be like, yo, what's up? You know what I mean? I just know, because that's how the streets work. Like, you know who somebody is by their chain or what they're wearing, like, meaning like some people had their record labels, some people had their names, some people had their neighborhoods or whatever. But, for me, I was like, I'm gonna go this way. Because I had the Jeezy chain, I had the CT, I had the USDA, but I was like, this is me, Snowman. So we basically just took that and put it on the shirt. And it went from there, and it just exploded. And next thing you know, I'm in Harlem, and then all the stores.
Crazy.
I'm just
crazy.
Like,
but New York
theirs was a little different. They had, bandanas and AK-40. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. But they were selling. Yeah. It was just love. I mean, you know how Harlem is. They don't rock with everybody. So I was just like, wow.
Let's get into the album, Def Jam. All right, so getting into creating your debut studio album, what did you say to yourself before you get started? Like, what's like the mentality going into that?
Well, coming off the Streets is Watching, and then Trap or Die, which both was featuring DJ Drama. I was like, okay, this is it. I got some buzz, I got some momentum. Let me go for it. And I was spending my own money. I spent about 1 point something on it before I had all my features and all that stuff. I hear people say it all the time, like, what's the budget? I'm like, I'm going. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like, if I put a budget on it, I got expectations. If I just do something great in my heart and my spirit in it, I don't know what might happen. So when the Def Jam situation came into play, it was like, oh, wow, I was ready. And they saw that I was ready and I was already making music and I had this buzz.
How much of it was done by then?
Probably about 80%.
Okay.
Yeah. At the time, Hove was just getting over to Def Jam because Kevin Liles, who signed me in L.A. Reid, Kevin left and went to Atlantic, and now Jay-Z's the president of Def Jam. I built a rapport with Jay-Z this time, so now I'm going to him saying, yo, I want to do this album over here with these guys, but I'm only going to do one. Can I push my album back 4 weeks so we can use this as promo as well, as marketing? I got Streets is Watching, I got Trap or Die, now I'm on Boys in the Hood, and then I got a debut album coming. So they agreed, I pushed my album back, I did the deal for one album, and then by that time I was wrapping up TM 101. When I got done with it, that's when I tore my vocal cords. And when I mixed TM 101, I had to mix it with paper and pen because I couldn't talk. Literally like, right, turn the bass up, turn this vocal down, take this part out. I ended up going in and getting surgery. I didn't have insurance at the time, and I paid for it cash in a paper bag and got my surgery. And then I had to go through this whole thing and get my voice back, get a vocal coach and all that.
I never heard that before.
This one was ill. I left all my drives and stuff at Patchwork, and there was an engineer and a kid up there who was a producer that was trying to give me beats for the album, but he didn't make the album. So he leaks the album. He leaks TM 101 4 weeks before it came out.
That's how it happened.
Right.
Wow.
He leaked it. He leaked it. And how we knew he leaked it is because one of the beats that he was trying to get me to get was the first beat.
I mean, that's smart. If you're gonna leak it, you might as well.
It wasn't smart.
You might as well put yourself on it.
Because what he got, he ain't gonna leak nobody else out. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't realize that him leaking that album was the only reason why Def Jam knew that this was gonna go. I didn't even know that. You know what I'm saying? I'm praying to God every day. Like, I hope this works out. Because now, my money tied up. Now I'm putting myself out here. Everybody know who I am. Right. You know
Considering that album.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And I'll never forget, it was Birthday Bash, and my DJ made a mistake and hit the button, and the bottom of the map dropped, and the whole crowd, hey, hey, hey. You know what I'm saying? I was just sitting there, I was like, oh man, they got it. It was a blessing because I would never pick Soul Survivor. I was like, this is too polished. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not gonna work. And boy, was I wrong. The streets had already decided the singles. But now you got this record label that I signed to that have all these people in the room trying to tell me what I should go with first. And I'm like, y'all ain't up against what I'm up against. If this doesn't work, I gotta go back to the streets. So I'm like, I wanna make my own decision. And by the grace of God, I didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to, it was already made. It's like, look at the numbers, like look at what's going on. And
do you remember which song came first? Like the very first song you recorded, what was the first new one?
I say Standing Ovation. This is the crazy part. I recorded Standing Ovation, shout out to Drummer Boy, and it was crazy. And he called me, and I just heard a tone in his voice. I said, what's wrong? He said, man, I sold the beat to some street guys from Tennessee. Well, whoever these guys were, because he know my reputation. I don't know who they were, but he was not coming off that beat. And I was like, yo, tell them I'll buy it. He's like, nah, they're not gonna wanna do it. They got a song to it, whatever. And I was just like, what you gonna do? He said, I promise I'll make you a better one. And I sent him the vocals. I said, all right, you got until the end of the week. And when I tell you he sent it back and I pushed play, I was like, my God.
Hey, I told him, straight drop this and ziplock that. Right on my waistline is why I kept that strap.
So the beat we hear is not.
No, that's not the original.
Oh, wow. That's a hell of a.
Yeah, I know, right? That's why.
Wow.
We made it, it worked out. So Standing Ovation was first, Last of a Dying Breed was next, and then the record that, you asked about earlier, I was at some of my guys' spot. They was doing their Thug thing, and they was listening to this T.I. mixtape.
I was about to ask you.
But I heard this beat on there, and I was like, what the f is that? I said, well, who produced the beat?
So this is how it went. I actually did the record in the dorm room for artist Willie the Kid. Him and his guy Jonas was supposed to be on the record. They never really got on the record.
That's crazy, dude.
I wound up giving the beats to Drum. He went around and was just shoving them around. So he wound up having T.I. come to the crib and doing this tape. I think it might have been Down with the King. The mixtape he did.
Was it Down with the King? Was it that tape?
It might have been, because that was a mixtape, right? Yeah. And Drummond was on it, right?
The record before the last on the mixtape, he did a quick freestyle over it. Jeezy had a release party at this club. It was Riviera at the time, on 112. And when the club lights come on at the end of the night, that's when it's time for everybody get their shit and get the fuck on. I started playing that freestyle because it was the only record I had at the time. There's like somebody actually like T.I. rapped on my beats. I'm like, oh, I play it exclusively.
Play it everywhere.
I play it until everybody walk out the club. It's probably 2,000 people in the club, maybe, I don't know. And I remember him leave the section with all his people. He had about 200 people with him, maybe. You know what I'm saying? He come over, they like, yo, what's that beat? I was like, man, T.I. freestyle on it, but it's open. Shit, you can have it. He's like, bring that shit to me. You know what I'm saying? And I wound up giving him the beat, and that's how it went.
I think I heard the Cannon drop, or somebody told me Cannon did the beat. Yeah. So I called him. I was like, yo, man, I need a beat, like the beat you can't tip. He's like, why don't you just get that one? And I said, what do you mean? He was like, he didn't buy it, he just rapped over it. I was like, word? He's like, yeah. I was like, I want it. I met him, gave him bread or whatever, however the exchange was, but it was my beat now.
The thing was, I lost the beat.
You lost the beat?
One of the discs I had for it was Corrupt. You know what I'm saying? So I had to remake that beat from scratch. So it was basically, I had to redo it at Patchwork. I went to Patchwork in the B room and remade it. So by the time I had to go track it out for him, it was already good. And hopefully it wasn't different.
I remember calling Coach K, like I got the Cannon beat. Wrote the song on the plane on the way back. Went straight to the studio, recorded the song, 3 verses. And I was like, oh, this is it.
I left. He rapped on it. I still ain't heard the record. He was telling me, he's like, bro, I got something special on that beat, bro. You got to hear it, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, he just going on and on about this shit.
I was rapping it in my head when I was on the plane. Like, when they play that new Jeezy, I knew I had something, but when I played it for Def Jam, when they came down for the listening party, they was like really like impressed because they started clapping on that one. And I remember saying,
like literally clapping.
Yeah, literally clapping. Like when it got done, everybody was clapping in the room. It was in Patchwork.
I wound up finally hearing him like, man, this joint is crazy. He said, this gonna have going, wow.
I remember saying, yeah, I'm gonna get Jay-Z on this song. And I looked at L.A. Reid like, yeah, you need to make that happen.
He wasn't rapping like that at that time.
No, it was crazy because we was in L.A. for the BET Awards or something like that. Me and Hov was like hanging at the time, but the funny thing, we never talk about music. And he told me to come up to one of those hotels in Beverly Hills. We should sit on his patio up there smoking cigars and talking and just laughing and shit. And he goes, what verse you taking off? I'm thinking we just, just talking. Yeah. And then he goes, I'm gonna do it, by the way. I said, do what? He said, I'm gonna do the record. I said, word. And I'll never forget, like, we was another promo tour when we was at K-Day. We was doing an interview. And mid-interview, Coach walks in, I got it. He's like, I got it. I'm like, got what? He's like, I got the Jay-Z verse. I was like, no way. Middle of the interview, I was like, bro, you gotta hold up. We gotta stop the interview. Come here, we gotta hear this. And Coach played it, and we both just sat there, and I was like, oh my God. But the first thing I was thinking is I need to go back and do another verse.
Coach comes by, he's like, I got something for you. I just can't tell you, but it's gonna be crazy. I'm telling you. I'm like, what? Finally, it wound up being Jay-Z.
Oh, so you didn't even know that Jay-Z was gonna be on it?
Nope. It was my GOAT. You know what I'm saying? It fucked me up because I'm like, damn, my first record, where I'm going from here? I done ended my career right here. I got Jeezy and Jay-Z on this joint.
It's crazy because Jay wasn't, he had retired. He wasn't really out there like that. He kind of gave up.
I think we inspired each other, man. Like, Jay was probably the only people out of his era that was like where I came from. And I think we both understood that. And I think he saw a lot of himself in me. Because we had real conversation. I tell you, we really talked about music. It was always about life, what we doing, what we thinking. He would actually ask me questions. It would be wild. He'd be like, what do you think about that? So when I heard the verse, that's what another hustler would do for another hustler. Give him your best. He wouldn't want to just give me something that was what he would just give somebody who wanted a Jay-Z verse. This is about culture. This is about us. This is about people who see eye to eye and see alike. So he had to give me something that I was gonna be like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't really about, what the fans were gonna think, because I don't think they understood it anyway. I think they just was more ecstatic he was on it, but like the people like myself was like, oh, he going in.
I mean, they loved it. It was,
right.
It was like, what, 64 bars?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I stopped counting them. I was like, damn, he might as well just take me off. You know what I'm saying? But it was one of his best verses ever, so I love that verse, man.
Did T.I. ever say anything?
No, he didn't.
I would have been like,
it's crazy. He's never said anything about that. That is something to think about.
Yeah, I was like, damn, I'd be tight if I heard that.
Right.
Damn.
I
almost felt, and I told Drum, I was like, even though T.I. did that on the freestyle on that tape, I felt like he was going to come back like later and be like, yo, I want to make a whole song of that. It's just one of them joints. You know what I'm saying?
Did T.I. ever say anything?
Nah, because T.I., like, he's a different type of dude. He chill, laid back, and like he just had so much on his hands right there. I think he was battling on Flip at the time. Yeah, he had like, I think he was going at Shorty Low. There was a lot of stuff going on at the time, and he was building a career. So I think that was probably like last on his list.
I think he got me back with Swagger Like Us, though.
I take Go Crazy over Swagger Like Us any day, bro. What? Looking back on it now, what made TM101 stand out at that moment, according to you? Even for people listening to it who were so far from the Atlanta trap who are listening to your album, like I have a friend that went through law school who played that album every day. Because he was like, this is the thing that motivates me to like power through these finals and power through these all this work.
You know, when you hear Michael Phelps tell you, like when he was racing, you know, he's winning all those medals, like he was on his playlist. Or you see Allen Iverson the other day, you know, just really, you know what I'm saying, vibing out to it. I think it's the message, you know what I'm saying? It's like listening to your favorite pastor. What's the message? What's the tone? What is he saying? Do you believe him? If this guy is telling you he's doing this stuff and you're seeing it in real time, what's there not to believe? Right? But he isn't just telling you the good, he's telling you the bad as well and how he's dealing with this thing. So it didn't matter if he was selling socks or stocks. The message is the same. It's thug motivation. It's like when Tupac had Thug Life. You gotta know everybody that was listening to Thug Life when I had thugging. But they heard the principles and the morals and the values in the music. You gotta think I was writing this album like my life was on the line. You know what I'm saying? Because it was. It was like, I got one shot. If I miss a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, that's gonna change the trajectory of my whole family. It's like a sniper, like this is it. I wasn't gonna leave one rock unturned because you gotta think, like I didn't have an A&R. I A&R'd that myself from A to Z. Like I picked the records, I picked the producers, I picked who to mix it. You know what I'm saying? I was in every session, like it never left my presence. And it's crazy because 20 years later is the way I feel now. It was worth all the effort. And as I sit here, it was just like my spirit told me this is how it needs to play out. I didn't write the music, I saw it. So to answer your question, it's just like, I didn't even have to think about it. The universe pulled me everywhere I was supposed to go. Even when I lost my voice, it was to humble me. You know what I'm saying? I was getting a little, you know, I was thinking it was about me. You know what I'm saying? And when these things were, even the, you know, the guy leaking the album, it was to show me like, this can all be taken away from you. You gotta take it seriously. You know what I'm saying? It can be gone. You did all this, you spent all your money, leaked the album, you don't sell no CDs, you lose your record deal, and then what happens? Humble me. Let me understand that this is not about me. This is about culture. This is my position in it. Because I can see the state of the culture. They don't believe nobody. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I have to elevate the culture. I have to show them like, nah, bro, like there's more ways to get this done than you think. Like I don't have to die in this. We don't all have to go to prison in this. We don't all have to get stuck in this. Like let's not get caught up. Like that's never was the mission. The mission was to get us out. You sit back and you watch it, there's no integrity at all. You know what I'm saying? None. I don't expect everybody to understand that because they ain't came from where I came from, so they don't know. They don't get these phone calls. They ain't seeing what's going on. They ain't hurting for these kids. They not caring. They just entertained. I'm not entertained. I'm more so like, oh shit, like we gotta figure this out. You know what I'm saying? This is bad. But somebody gotta look out for the veterans. These kids are veterans, man. They going through real shit. You know, they're veterans, man. They're going through real stuff. Like, who's going to look out for them? Who's going to help them through this? Who's going to show them to keep going and keep evolving? And there's ways around this because it's like, if they're not careful with it, it's going to slip out of our hands. It's not going to be here no more. Nobody's going to care. It's not even going to be an art form. It's going to be something that was a past, has been. There's no respect for it anymore. It's almost like, why would I be involved with that? Let's just say the state of the culture is definitely at stake. And they just need to know that there's other outlets and there's other things you can do and you can evolve and still be you. You can be you. You don't have to lose you. I still believe what I believed 20 years ago. I am here to motivate. I'm here to inspire. I am here to push and challenge. This piece of art is once again the vessel. I mean, there's no reason why, you know, it's #1 on TikTok, Soul Survivor right now. And they're just now getting the message. It took 20 years, but look, it finally came around. They're able to look at it and say, oh shit, this makes sense, but it describes a man that describes other men. I am a soul survivor. I realize that more so now than I did when I wrote it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's real now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Jeezy, thank you so much. I
appreciate you having me, man. It's great. What's up? It's your boy Jeezy, and I'm here with Boardroom, and this is on record.